honestly say that everything is worth it. The hard work, the times when you're tired, the times when you're a bit sad, the good moments when you're on stage performing in front of thousands of people. In the end, it's all worth it because it really makes me happy. And I wouldn't trade it for anything else in the world. Right now, it's hard to say what I want my legacy to be, what I want people to say when I'm long gone. I want people to look at me as a full-on entertainer and a good person. So, we'll talk a few years down the line and we'll see where my head is at then, but that's what I want for right now.
Child, looks like we have another thing we never saw coming in the Diddy trial. Baby girl, better known as Aaliyah. So word on the street is that Aaliyah's name may come up as one of the girls who was being transported across borders for you-know-what. And allegedly, because she refused to play ball, Diddy was among those behind her blacklisting and ultimately her death. Guys, this whole trial is already crazy as it is, so how about we just get right into this tea? For starters, I knew that the revelations that would come out during Diddy's trial would be nasty, but I don't think any of us really prepared. Like, really. On day one alone, we had testimony from Daniel Phillip, a 41-year-old male escort who allegedly first became entangled with Diddy and Cassie in 2012, and he said that his relations with them would last around a year. During his testimony, he claimed that during one session with Cassie, he was asked to urinate in her mouth. Ew! In addition, on the first day, Israel Flores, a former security guard at the Intercontinental Hotel in Los Angeles, also recalled an incident between Diddy and Cassie. During his testimony, he recalled the moment he received a call that there was a woman in distress on the 6th floor, and he arrived in the area and saw Diddy in a robe and some colored socks. As for Cassie, she was on the floor covering her face. According to him, Diddy was in a devilish state, while Cassie allegedly looked scared. He also recalled noticing a flower vase in the hallway that was destroyed. Then when he witnessed Diddy and Cassie fighting, he tried to escort them back to their rooms, and he said that Cassie was trying to escape and walk away, but Diddy allegedly told her, "You're not going to leave." At one point, he said that Diddy even tried to bribe him, but he refused his stash of cash. And when he eventually caught up to Cassie and started questioning her, he noted she had a purple eye, and instead of getting police assistance, she allegedly told him, "I just want to leave." Of course, we anticipate that a lot of shocking details and allegations will be coming up as the trial goes on, and whispers are already saying that Aaliyah is also in the court documents. Now, I know what you're thinking. Diddy and Aaliyah, were they even together in the same room? Yes, honey, yes. One thing you should know is that Aaliyah attended Diddy's parties. I don't know whether she stayed for the freak-offs, but we have seen photos of her from the parties. Like, there is a photo of Damon Dash, Aaliyah, Jay-Z, Diddy, and Jennifer Lopez at Diddy's 4th of July party on July 2nd, 2000. And here's another one where they are cozied up in bed at the same party. Diddy and Aaliyah have also been photographed together a few times, like this time in 2001 during the MTV Movie Awards, and several other times if you go down that rabbit hole like I did. Unfortunately for Aaliyah, she ended up just like many other artists in the industry, and what we have heard over the years is that 3 men may be aware of what exactly happened to Aaliyah, and I'm talking about R. Kelly, Jay-Z, and Diddy. So about R. Kelly, we already know that he lured Aaliyah into a very controversial and highly inappropriate relationship before forging documents to marry her when she was still not of age, and even reportedly got her pregnant. He actually forged documents and forced the marriage ceremony to ensure that as his wife, Aaliyah would not be forced to testify against him in the court of law. And guess what? There have been reports alleging that both Diddy and Jay-Z
working with R. Kelly, and they were making so many records together. They made all those records together. They both Aaliyah. They shared so much in common.
In fact, back in 2002, Nas suggested that Jay-Z knew what R. Kelly was doing with young girls, and one of them was Aaliyah. He told Wendy Williams during a radio interview when the tape of R. Kelly leaked, "I could have showed the R. Kelly video that everybody's talking about and made fun of it and show pictures of Jay hanging out. You can't tell me that Jay didn't see a 14-year-old girl come into the studio and sit on R. Kelly's lap. You gonna tell me he didn't see no 14-year-old girl come into the vicinity?" Well, of course, there were also suspicious people around Aaliyah like Hype Williams, who, by the way, we have never understood why he decided to move Aaliyah's last shoot from Miami to the Bahamas when they already started filming with a green screen in Miami. Because even if he wanted to shoot additional scenes on a real beach, doesn't Miami have enough beaches? It just doesn't make sense. And this is one of the many reasons why fans have wondered if this was a ploy to get Aaliyah to travel alone, since she was terrified of flying. And she always traveled with her mom.
When she actually saw the plane, she we had the Blackberries. She said, "I don't like this plane." And I was like, "Well, don't get on it." And she's like, "Well, I got to because I got work to do." She got on the plane, and she always had a very serious fear of planes in general. So she had to overcome her fear to get on that plane on the way there. But what I was really more tight about was that I had heard that Lenny Kravitz had offered her a jet, and that Hype had took the jet. So that's what really pissed me off about the situation when I heard about that. So you could ask Hype about that.
That's what I'm saying. Have you ever talked to Hype about it?
And yes, I know we should also give Aaliyah's family a side eye, given that they allowed Aaliyah to be used by different men in the industry. In fact, Aaliyah's Uncle Barry, the same one that got millions after Aaliyah died, said that some family members, like Aaliyah's mom, actually knew what was happening with R. Kelly and did nothing about it.
Were you aware of the issues going on with R. Kelly when they were going on?
No, didn't have a clue. Completely ignorant to it.
Do you think anyone in the family was?
Yes. Yes, I think my sister knew a lot more than what we thought.
Anywho, back to Diddy. We know that he is facing charges for transporting girls and selling them to different men across borders. One of them allegedly being Aaliyah, courtesy of Jay-Z and R. Kelly. Allegedly. The theory that's making rounds is that since Jay-Z and R. Kelly were already deeply involved with Aaliyah when she started rebelling, someone else had to be the one to blacklist her or get rid of her. And who better than the third musketeer, Diddy? By the way, there are no receipts that actually point to this, but this is just one of the assumptions people have been making. FYI, Rihanna was also allegedly among the girls being transported as well, and could be in the docks. This could be more credible, actually, given that her former publicist specifically said the feds questioned him about this. Makes me wonder, who else was being transported across borders? Okay, as for the circumstances that led to Aaliyah's death, we know that after the crash, it was actually confirmed that the small plane exceeded its maximum weight limit by several hundred pounds. In addition, the weight was not evenly distributed, which would have made the plane harder to control once it got into the air. It was also revealed that the pilot had also reportedly faked his license and was under the influence of alcohol and other hard stuff at the time of the accident. Allegedly, Aaliyah didn't even get into that plane when she was conscious, and she had expressed her concern about getting on the plane. We even have a witness account told by Kathy Landoli in her book, Baby Girl, better known as Aaliyah. Kathy wrote that Kingsley Russell, whose family ran a taxi and hospitality business in the Abaco Islands, was just 13 years old on August 25th, 2001, but he was with Aaliyah as his stepmother drove her team to the airport for her return flight back to the US. He said that when Aaliyah saw the plane, she refused to get on board and went back in the cab. Then someone from her entourage returned to ask her what was wrong, and according to Kingsley, Aaliyah is said to have repeated her concerns about getting on the plane, at which point she was handed a sleeping pill and fell into a deep sleep. Allegedly, Aaliyah was carried from the taxi and onto the plane despite her earlier reservations while she was still knocked out. Remember, Aaliyah also did an interview in Paris just weeks before she died and pretty much predicted her own death. This is what she said. "It's dark in my favorite dream. Someone is after me. Don't know why. I got fear. Then suddenly I lift off. I fly away, far away. How do I feel now? It is like swimming in the air, free and without any weight. No one can reach me. No one can touch me. It's a wonderful feeling. Otherwise, I am alarmed by this dream somehow. What does it mean? That I want to escape from the real life sometimes? But from what? From success or the pressure of show business? No, I enjoy every second of my fame. If I could rewind my life back to the start, I wouldn't change a thing, honestly." Well, we have people who are convinced that all these men who were involved with Aaliyah had something to do with her death. And before I forget, remember that conspiracy theory which speculated that Beyonce, together with her husband Jay-Z and Diddy, were the ones responsible for the deaths of Aaliyah, Lisa Left Eye Lopez, and Michael Jackson, based on J. Cole's song, She Knows. In the song, J. Cole sings, "Rest in peace to Aaliyah, rest in peace to Left Eye, Michael Jackson, I'll see ya." I mean, it's possible that J. Cole was just remembering the artists because he admired them, but conspiracy theorists were convinced that there's a specific reason he mentioned these three and not the other artists who died from suspicious circumstances. And one of the things people are saying was that She Knows sounds very similar to Sean and Knowles, basically implying that it's in reference to Beyonce and Jay-Z knowing about the deaths. On the other hand, others said that it's Sean for Sean Diddy Combs, meaning he may also have been involved. Very interesting. Funny how it's always the same names coming up though, right? And it doesn't help that we once had Diddy's BFF, Mary J. Blige, saying that she believed there was a lot of foul play in Aaliyah's death and said that she knew she was next. In her words, quote, "It was just that when I saw her die, that's when I discovered the fact that I'm next. I don't know how or when, but I'm next. I don't know what kind of freak accident they're gonna put me in or what kind of overdose they're gonna sort out. But at the end of the day, I knew I was next. I just thought I'm scared." Very specific choice of words if you ask me. Like she knows exactly how people get taken out. How Aaliyah was taken out. Honestly, at this point, I don't think there's a name that will surprise me if it makes the Diddy list. But you let me know what you think of Aaliyah allegedly being in the docks. Is it possible that Diddy knows about her death? Was she actually being transported across borders like Rihanna?